has been a chilly, rainy Monday in downtown Cincinnati, but Mother Nature apparently changing her mood a little bit because we're dry right now. We're ready to go, and we're going to start this game on time. The first of four, the Atlanta Braves in town to take on the Cincinnati Reds. And look who's in the house for the first time this year, the Cowboy, Jeff Brantley. And Jeff Piccoro, I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome as always to Reds Baseball. Great to have you here tonight, partner. This Atlanta Braves team, a little bit of a surprise so far this year.
Yeah, I think, Tom, when you look back at the Braves and you think about rebuilding, well, they've rebuilt, and they've rebuilt an offense. Now, granted, they have put some veteran players within their lineup, but you look at the younger players, especially in the infield, they're swinging the bats, they're putting runners across home plate, and they're throwing the ball well, and they're doing it with some younger guys. That's huge in my opinion.
One of the younger guys, in fact, he was the youngest player in baseball last year, is Ozzie Albies. What a start for him.
Really is, Tom. Comes from the same island as Anderson Simmons, future Hall of Famer Andrew Jones. The kid can play, and he's a 5'2" talent. Not only does he have great speed, great hand-eye coordination, he can flat pick it at second base, and he's got the power to go with it from both sides of the plate.
He leads the major leagues in extra base hits so far this season, does Albies. All right, let's shift gears to the pitching matchup tonight. Sal Romano is coming off a rock-solid start his last time out and trying to now make that a pattern.
Yeah, I think the big key for Romano is the start of the ball game. We've talked about this time and time again. A lot of it has to do with handling the adrenaline. It's not a fear factor for him. It's almost an over-aggressive type nature early in the ball game. He handled that in Milwaukee. Kind of ran out of gas there in the sixth inning, gave up the 2-run home run, but I thought he handled things very well and really moving in a better direction.
And what about the Atlanta starter, very talented young pitcher, in Mike Foltynewicz?
Yeah, Foltynewicz, great arm, big arm, always has been able to be aggressive with the fastball, high velocity fastball. He's changed his mechanics just a little bit, almost Steven Strasburg-like, trying to make them as simple as possible so he can repeat his mechanics and repeat location.
All right, when we come back, we have Jeff Piccoro will join us down in front of the Reds dugout. Couple of really good hitting first basemen going toe-to-toe over the next 4 days. You're watching Reds Baseball on Fox Sports Ohio.
Chevy, check out our award-winning lineup only at your Tri-State Chevy dealers. And by Skyline Chili. Feeling good? It's Skyline time.
Good evening, Reds fans. I'm Local 12 News meteorologist John Gum. The weather not looking the best tonight for this one. 6:40 first pitch here, and we're expecting showers around throughout the evening. Temperatures will be pretty steady in the upper 50s. If there's any good news at all, a lot of this rain is going to be light, but it looks wet throughout the course of the evening. Enjoy the game right here on Fox Sports Ohio.
Well, the good news is it's not raining right now, and he's making just his 6th start of the season. Talking about Scott Schebler. He is in the leadoff spot tonight. Jim Riggleman said Winker's off tonight, so Schebler's got good plate presence. He's got some speed, and also the fact that we are 3 and whatever, so why not? Let's shake it up a little bit. So Schebler hitting leadoff for the first time this year. Hi, everybody. I am Jeff Piccoro. And if you like first baseman, well, you're going to like the matchup tonight at first base. 2 of the best, not only in the National League, but all of baseball. It's our IGS bringing the energy since 2011. Let's take a look at these two, Freddie Freeman and Joey Votto. Very similar. A couple more hits for Freeman. More walks for Joey. On base, Joey wins that one. Even in home runs, RBI, Freeman. Runs scored, Freeman by a few. So you want an all-star? Take your pick between these two because both of them are so very, very good. It is game 1 of a 4-game set between Freddie Freeman's Atlanta Braves and Joey Votto's Reds. And that man, Sal Romano, looking for win number 1 on the season. Tom and the Cowboy right back after this.
The start of this 2018 season. We mentioned a moment ago, Cowboy, his last time out, he was cruising right along in Milwaukee, throwing a beautiful game. And the question is, in that 6th inning, did he hit a wall?
I think that he did. It looked like he was trying to command himself and really back off of that adrenaline and the things that we've seen in the first inning, just trying to get himself under control. I thought he did that very well. He got to the 6th inning. Things just kind of unraveled a little bit. I think sometimes you can make a play on the field and then it takes away from your concentration. It seemed like to me that when he threw the ball away at first base, the very next pitch is hit out of the ballpark. Now, that's just one of those learning experiences where you just can't let minor things get away from him. I think he let the game get away from him.
Brian Snitker, in his second full year as manager of the Braves, he took over a little more than midway through the 2016 season, and off to a nice start this year are the Atlanta Braves, having won 12 and lost 8. His lineup is presented by Nissan. Cincinnati to lead things off. Albies, we talked about him a moment ago. Then Freddie Freeman, Nick Markakis in right, Suzuki the catcher with Tucker in left field, Dansby Swanson the shortstop, Ryan Flaherty hitting .360 and batting 8th, and Fultonevich is on the mound. Hard to believe Ender Cincinnati is just 27 years old. It seems like he has been around forever. First pitch swinging in the air. And racing over near the line with room is Adam Duvall. 1 pitch and 1 out. That's a nice way to start it. Take a look at the Reds on defense, presented by Ford. Duvall, Hamilton, we mentioned Schebler a moment ago, getting the nod in right and batting leadoff. Pennington, Peraza, Jeanette Votto along the infield, and Barnhart hanging the signs for Romano. Well, here's the aforementioned second baseman Ozzie Albies. 16 extra base hits, the most in the major leagues. In fact, if you combine the 2 middle infielders on this team, the 16 turned in by Albies, the 11 by Dansby Swanson. Wow, 27 extra base hits from your middle infielders.
Well, not only that, Tom, it's really interesting to me to see kids, and both Swanson and Albies are kids. They're just getting their feet wet at the big league level. Last year, I think there were a lot of people that were wondering, okay, we've planned on these 2 guys playing our middle infield forever, and they're doing nothing offensively. Well, they've changed that here in the first month of April.
In fact, I remember when we were down in Atlanta last year, the Braves were getting ready to send Swanson back to the minor leagues, and they had an injury. It forced him to stay, and the last month and a half, he turned it on. Former #1 overall pick by the Arizona Diamondbacks. In the dirt, and the appeal, he did not go around. Umpiring crew tonight: Chris Conroy, the balls and strikes. C.B. Buckner is at first. Brian O'Nora at second base. Infield and Colbert the umpire at third. 2-2 on Ozzie Albies, a .302 batter, 6 home runs. Nice play made by that young man.
With his hat.
Yep. It's a big league play.
Did you see the kid in the background slam his hands down on the chair? That was my ball.
Slow roller charging. Pennington throws on the run. That's a nice play right there by Cliff Pennington for the second out here in the opening inning. We talked so much about, Cowboy mentioned it a moment ago, the rough first inning starts, early part of the game starts for Romano. His last outing, a 1-2-3 first, and now Freddie Freeman stands in his way of a 1-2-3 opening inning here tonight. This guy can really hit.
Oh.
Really hit. Already 15 runs batted in, couple of home runs, nearly a .300 batter. Missed a lot of time last year with the injured wrist.
I would have to believe, Tom, that anytime you have a couple of first basemen or a couple of position players that play the same position, like Votto and Freeman, there's got to be some competitive edge that supersedes the ball game. I want to do better in this 4-game series than the other guy.
That ball driven into left field, but a chilly night tonight. It'll be short of the track, and a 1-2-3 opening inning for a second straight start for Sal Romano. Debut as skipper here tonight, and of course he's looking to get his first win since taking over for Brian Price starting on Friday in St. Louis. The Reds lineup presented by Nissan. It'll be Schebler leading off in right, Peraza at short, then Joey Votto, Scooter Gennett, Adam Duvall, Tucker Barnhart in the middle, Pennington, Romano, Hamilton in the 9 spot. Young man who grew up in Illinois. Big guy, 6'4", nearly 200 pounds, Mike Foltynewicz.
Yeah, I remember when the Braves first got this guy. I think it came from the Astros. He just reared back to see what he could dial up on the radar gun.
Now, you were starting to talk a little bit about when we opened the game telecast tonight that he's really been working on his mechanics from last year. That ball hit a long way, but it'll stay in the yard at the warning track. In the summertime, that ball's out of here, but not tonight. Take a look at Atlanta and then get back to Cowboy about this mechanic change made by Foltynewicz. Inciarte, last 2 years in a row, has won the Gold Glove in center field. Very young infield with Flaherty, Swanson, Albies, and the veteran Freeman. And Suzuki getting all the playing time right now behind the plate. But what about Foltynewicz?
Yeah, I think when you watch Foltynewicz now, he's taking a very short step. He almost stands as though he's in the stretch, trying to make everything as simple as possible. You see that very short step back and then trying to get everything going to the plate with his momentum as he pushes off the back foot. Now before, he would take a big step almost back towards the second baseman. Hands would go up over the head, arching back towards second, and the ball would just come flying out of his hand. Well, he may have sacrificed a mile an hour or two in velocity by doing things this way, but he's locating the ball better. His secondary pitches are much more consistent within the strike zone.
He's striking out better than a batter per inning. 26 of those in 21 innings coming into tonight, and he's walked 9.
You can have the greatest slider with the greatest amount of rotation. If it's in the dirt, it doesn't matter.
That one stung into center field by Jose Peraza, and he's aboard with 1 out in the Reds' first inning.
Breaking ball that just spins right in the heart of the plate. The first breaking ball was outstanding. He got a swing and a miss on Peraza. That one just stayed right in the heart of the plate.
Joey Votto, a .243 batter, still without a home run, and Votto has 1 extra base hit so far this year, and that is a double. You know, the power numbers skyrocketed all over Major League Baseball last year, and there was, you know, all the talk about a tightly wound ball more than ever before, and shattering records with home runs left and right. The power numbers all over baseball are way down this year, but especially so for the Reds. They've given up 33 home runs, and as a team, the Reds have only hit 11. 3-1 to Joey. And the Reds have just 39 extra base hits so far this year, the fewest they've had in 21 games to start a year going back to the mid-1960s. 3-1 to Joey Votto. And that's ball 4, and the Reds have something cooking here in the opening inning.
You know, Tom, I think that you hit the ball with much greater velocity coming off your bat and greater distance, i.e. the home run, when you're comfortable at the plate and things are going your way. If you're a guy that's hitting .310, .315, you're not so worried about your batting average. You're just worried about hitting the ball hard when you come to the plate. But when you're hitting .140 or .220, you're worried about just making contact. Sure. At that point, it's a little different driving the baseball.
Here's Scooter. .271 batter, 7 runs batted in, has 5 doubles. And that one is high, ball 1. Reds trying to jump on the Braves here in the opening inning.
I think Scooter Gennett is a perfect story about what I was just saying.
Yep.
You look at him, Who would have thought 21 games into the season he would have no home runs? Votto the same way. But you're just trying to get a hit and trying to get runners on base right now.
And you make a great point, Cowboy, because you're seeing it up and down the Reds batting order. I mean, in their 21 games this year, what, 15 of them, I think the team has scored 3 runs or less. So you really got a lot of guys that are trying to say, hey, I got to hit a 5-run home run.
It's not a big deal when the season first begins, but as it continues on and the slump continues on, then the pressure mounts. And when pressure mounts, you squeeze the baseball harder when you're on the mound. You squeeze the bat harder when you're at the plate. You start thinking too much when you're in the field, and then you don't play up to your talent.
Borderline call there, a fastball strike. Foltynewicz gets ahead of Scooter at 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 on, 1 out. And that one missed in.
I think Foltynewicz would rather have that pitch than the previous one. You could see the neck and the head shoot up as that ball started back over the plate. Head up. Oh, come on.
You've been there.
Once or twice.
So you can see Foltynewicz taking an extra minute or 2 after that pitch. He really wanted that call for strike 3. Didn't get it. 2-2. And now the count runs full.
You look at the numbers for Foltynewicz with Sal Romano. The walks are very similar per inning pitch. Romano's walked 11, Foltynewicz has walked 9. But where Foltynewicz has made his hay is when he's had runners on base. He's gotten big strikeouts.
And this is a pattern we've heard about Foltynewicz this year, where, for example, in this at bat, he'll get ahead of a batter 1 and 2, and then he wasn't nibbling on that fastball on the inside corner where he didn't get the call, but he gets a strikeout on a breaking ball down and in, and that's a second out of the inning.
I think what you have to understand in facing a pitcher like Foltynewicz, watch where this ball is. Never catches plate on a 3-2 pitch. That tells me this kid is not going to give in. He's not going to throw you a pitch right down the middle. So if you're dead setting fastball 2-0, 3-1, 3-2, you're in trouble because he's not going to give it to you.
Peraza the runner at second base. Joey Votto on at first. 2 away for Adam Duvall here in the opening inning. First pitch fastball to strike. Foltynewicz spent his first full year in the major leagues in 2017. He got 10 wins through better than 150 innings. Struck out nearly a batter per inning. While making 28 starts, they shut him down when he cut his finger in mid-September. He came out of the gate, you may remember, one of the really good looking young pitchers in baseball, and then really trailed off.
His Aprils have always been his best month. He has been lights out in April, but you hit May and then on, the ERA starts to skyrocket.
2-1 on Adam. 3 home runs, 9 runs, a team best batted in.
More times than not in April, your arm's feeling good. It's feeling live. As you move into May, June, the warmer months of the season, your arm feels good about twice every 5 starts. You've got to figure out in those other 3 starts, how do I get people out? And you're getting the ball every 5th day. You got to pitch. You can't just rear back and see how hard you can throw it. And this guy can throw it hard.
And I think we saw a little bit of that yesterday with young Luis Castillo. I mean, clearly he didn't have command. He talked about it after the game, but he did grind his way through, pitched out of some jams, and kept it a game. You can see on the radar, again, as Cowboy mentioned a moment ago, that, you know, maybe he's given up 1.5 miles, 2 miles per hour on the fastball. That was still 97.
Right.
2 on, 2 out, 2 balls, 2 strikes, and a breaking ball at 2-2 bounces in there. So now the runners will get started on another 3-2 count. He struck out Jeanette on a slider on a 3-2 pitch a minute ago.
He threw a 2-2 slider to Jeanette, came back and threw a 3-2 slider, almost in the same spot as the pitch was to Duvall 2-2.
Oh, cross up there. Tell you what, the catcher Suzuki is lucky he doesn't have a broken right hand.
That was supposed to be a slider, and he got the number 1. Wow. Watch Suzuki's neck snap back here. Whoa. You could tell when Suzuki set up, because he set up in the middle of the plate expecting to slide towards the outside corner with the breaking ball. If he was expecting fastball there, he would have been setting on the outside corner. He was not.
All righty, so a single, a couple of walks, and now with 2 away, the Reds have them loaded in a scoreless game for Tucker Barnhart. Tucker, a pair of home runs, 4 doubles, 4 runs batted in. Big swing and a miss on a first pitch fastball.
And this is one of those at bats when your team is not going well. As a hitter, you're saying to yourself, I've got to get a hit here. I've got to get a hit. When in essence, you're just, what you should be telling yourself is, I've just got to hit the ball hard. I just got to put the ball in play hard.
That fastball at 98, that's the best fastball of the night for Foltynewicz, and it's 0-2.
And climb the ladder a bit with that one. Now, those 3 fastballs that we've just seen to Barnhart, that's normally how Foltynewicz would pitch in years past. What the Braves are trying to do with this kid, harness the arm a little bit. Let's talk about location a little more than we talk about velocity.
Tucker was charged up for the fastball that time, took a good whack at it, fouls it back. It's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Well, what a lift it would be for this Reds team. I mean, let's face it. You know, you're 3-18. You're just looking for anything to sort of give you a lift. And an early lead would be a big lift for this team. See if Tucker can deliver the goods here. Strike 3 call. Tucker disagrees on the inside corner. That was a breaking ball. And the Reds leave them loaded. They get a hit and 2 walks. Take a look at this. The most games against teams over 500 so far this year. The Marlins, the Rangers, the Orioles, and the Reds. All but 3 games for the Reds this year of the 21 played have been against teams 500 or better. It's interesting to know this Atlanta Braves team would be next on that list. They played a lot of teams at 500 or better, whereas the Boston Red Sox, for an example, have played the fewest number of games, less than 5, against teams at 500 or better, and they're just wearing them out. That's why I saw some sort of abstract power ranking based on things such as strength of schedule and many other factors that actually have the Atlanta Braves ranked as the best team in baseball so far this year ahead of Boston when you take in, run differential against the good teams, the bad teams, so on and so forth. For what it's worth, no score. We begin the 2nd inning. Nick Markakis, been a good player for a long time, pops it up no man's land, and Duvall there to the rescue, sliding in to get it.
Well, you see Peraza running in that general direction. If you're not running to catch the baseball, then get out of the way. I mean, Duvall almost pulled up on that ball because he saw Peraza jogging in the general direction of the ball coming down.
One away in the inning, and here's Kurt Suzuki. He's been getting all the playing time behind the plate. Tyler Flowers been injured. He's due back pretty soon, starting to rehab, in fact, tonight. What a tandem they turned out to be a season ago. I mean, from an offensive standpoint, those 2 guys were really good last year for the Braves. And Suzuki off to a good start this year. Nearly a .330 batter and playing every day.
Suzuki's been able to swing the bat with relative consistency since he came to the big leagues. Early in his career, he could throw you out.
That's
too.
right.
Now, not so much anymore.
Another fly ball. This one for Schebler in short right center field, and that's 5 up and 5 down to begin the game for Sal Romano. Romano had arguably his best start as a major leaguer against this Atlanta team in mid-August last year. That was down in Atlanta. Went 7 innings, allowed 5 hits and a run. The only run was a solo home run. So tonight, his second career outing against the Braves. Here's Preston Tucker. Numbers brought to you by AARP. August the 18th of last year was tied for the second longest outing of his major league career. Back to back. Oh boy, they're still going to get the out. How about that?
That's why you go to first on a ball hit to the right side when you're on the mound.
How about that? Jeanette there to save Joey Votto an error and save a base runner for Sal Romano. MLB.TV blackout and other restrictions may apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. Here we go. Last of the second inning. No score. Alongside the Cowboy, Jeff Brentley and Jeff Pecoro, Tom Brenneman, our entire Fox Sports Ohio crew. Boy, it's nice to be home, even though it's a short stay. Reds will be winding down this stretch where they're playing 13 of 17 on the road. They're here for 4. Leave to go to Minneapolis over the weekend, and then finally a significant homestand.
Seems like a lot of spot starts. Pop in, pop out.
Reds will be home on the next homestand with 3 teams coming in: the Brewers, the Marlins, and the New York Mets. 2-time Gold Glove winning center fielder Inciarte squeezes it tightly. That takes care of Pennington to begin the second inning. And Cowboy, the way you pack, I mean, you bring 2, 3, 4, 5 bags even on a 6-day trip.
No. I just bring a big square bag that I don't like to pick up. Maybe that's why my shoulder's blown out.
Yeah, you're onto something there, because you had to lug that thing out of Milwaukee when you had a chance to go back and see your family over the weekend. Hope they're doing great.
They are. They're doing very well. Other than my boy smoking me in the knee.
Well, but he's injured too.
Yeah, I mean, he's injured too. I didn't think you could throw the ball that hard from your knee. Guess I've learned something new.
Sal Romano 0 for 7 so far as a batter this year.
Or maybe it's just the fact that I can't move the glove as quick as I used to be able to.
Or a combination of the two. You might be onto something there.
I didn't even tip it.
2-2 on Romano.
Romano is a big kid and he swings hard. If he could just make some contact, he could have some fun. Or kill a cameraman.
Well, tardy there. Billy Hamilton waiting in the on-deck circle, batting in the number 9 spot tonight. All right, contact on the last 2 anyway.
Here we go. Now you got to move it back towards the pitcher's mound rather than the netting behind home plate.
I have a feeling after those last 2 we might see the old hook coming here 2-2. What do you think?
He tried to throw him a hook. It just spun the other way.
This is what we talked about in the first inning. You might see a lot of this tonight. Full counts for Fultonevich. That ball stung. Nice pickup by Swanson. So you asked for it, Cowboy. He hit hard.
He smoked it. I mean, this ball's hit right on the nose. Just happened to hit it right at a pretty good infielder.
Two down, and now Hamilton at 172. Strike one. Hamilton's on base percentage at 234. I beg your pardon, 274.
You see the first and the third baseman. Now we see this every time with Hamilton at the plate, charging right up on him, almost making him have to put down a perfect bunt at the plate when he does bunt. And I can remember back a guy I played with in San Francisco, Brett Butler. Opponents would play him very similar. They would charge in, play in on the grass, and he'd just take that bunt and top hand, just pop it just a little bit right over the third baseman's head. That stopped the third baseman from charging.
Gone swinging Billy, and that'll end the inning. 1-2-3 for Fultonevich. He has 3 strikeouts. We go to the third in a scoreless game. Up this week, what did Jim Riggleman have to say after taking over as interim manager? Chris Welsh will get together with Danny Darwin and Tucker Barnhart. A busy offseason. Brought to you by Miami Valley Gaming. This week, Wednesday, 5:30 on Fox Sports Ohio and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. 0-0 game. Atlanta bats, ladder third here in the third. Dansby Swanson, former #1 pick overall by the Arizona Diamondbacks, came to the Braves 3 years ago. Really struggled last year. In the last month of the season, started to play a little better. He's carried that right into this year, off to an excellent start. And that certainly backs up not only the kind of start, I mean, those kinds of numbers continued well into the middle of the year for Dansby Swanson.
Well, the good start gives you confidence so that when you do have a rough spell, your numbers don't fall to critical category. When you're hitting as he was in the upper 300s, if your batting average drops to 320 and you go 0 for 10 or 0 for 15, you don't worry about it so much.
Three-one fastball fouled out of play, and it's 3-2 on the Atlanta shortstop.
Now that swing there is a major change for Swanson from what we saw last year. Even though that pitch was middle away, he looked like he was trying to drive that ball into the right center field gap rather than trying to hook it into left field. And he did a lot of hooking last year and a lot of top ground balls and swing and misses.
Jumped on that one, pulled it foul.
I don't have any problem with the spin on the ball that's inside, but that ball that's away and you're trying to reach around it and pull it, you better be a big strong fella.
Three-two on Swanson, and again pulled foul.
Now you've come in twice with hard sinking fastballs, and you've got Swanson thinking, all right, he's coming in, I've got to get my hands there. Now this is the perfect spot. You can get a breaking ball somewhere middle away, but you have to have the confidence that you can get it close on a 3-2 pitch.
Well, they're coming with a breaking ball, 3-2 delivery, and he never really was in the strike zone. Swanson saw it all the way as a ball, and that's a walk. First base runner of the game for Atlanta. Well, you like the idea. He wasn't afraid to throw it.
I like the idea, but I go back to the first pitch of that at bat to Swanson. Romano threw him a breaking ball, tried to get it over for a strike, and it just spun up and out of the strike zone. So he tried to do a little extra there, and he pulls it down underneath the strike zone.
Here's Flaherty. What a start he's off to. Here's ball one, a 362 batter, and he's hitting 8th in the Atlanta order. Wow. Home run, 8 runs batted in, 5 doubles for Flaherty. Many of you may have seen the news that the Braves just a little more than a week ago signed the former Toronto slugger Jose Bautista to a contract with the idea of him playing third base. Now, Bautista played third base very early in his career when he first came up, Pittsburgh, Kansas City. Since 2012, he has only played a total of 12 games at third base. So they're trying to get him game ready. But right now they feel real good about where Flaherty is. Wouldn't you?
I would too. I think the thing with Flaherty is you may get the 362 batting average, but what the Braves, I believe, are after is the power that comes with Jose Bautista and the ability to hit the ball out of the ballpark with some regularity.
It's only, what, 3 years ago Bautista hit over 50 home runs in a year. Now his last couple of years, those numbers have been down. There's a strike, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Sweet pitch right there. Started
But I mean, it only
off
cost
the
him.
plate, comes right back to it. That's money.
Yep. But you know, finish your thought. I mean, the Bautista thing cost him $1 million. Right. That's it. So why not take a chance?
Well, let's just say he hits 30 home runs and he hits in the same spot that Flaherty's at. You take 30 from your 8-hole guy all day, every day. And I don't care if he hits 200.
1-2 the count on Flaherty. Runner goes, and a swing and a foul ball out of play. Swanson does have a pair of stolen bases in 2 attempts.
I think the reason that the Braves are running here, you've got a contact hitter at the plate that's going to make pretty good contact most of the time. You've got your pitcher on deck. Even if you get a ground ball to the infield, you get Swanson to second, you bunt him over, he's at third, you got a chance with Inciarte just with a little peck to bring in a run. And Inciarte will bunt with a runner at third base. He's an awfully good bunter.
He just did so in New York the other night in a big come from behind win. I mean, he surprised everybody, his own teammates, his manager. He looked around, he noticed that, you know, Adrian Gonzalez, he's in his mid-30s, later 30s now. He's holding a runner on, pitcher's falling off to the third base side of the mound, and all of a sudden he just drops a bunt, brings in the go-ahead run. 2-2 on Flaherty. Strike 3 call. Another good pitch on the inside corner by Romano, and that's his first strikeout of the night.
Awfully difficult to pull the trigger on this pitch. It starts underneath your hands and runs right back to the inside corner. That was an even better pitch than the previous fastball inside. That's right at the kneecaps.
You know, you look at a guy the size of Romano, and he's going nearly 6'5", 270 pounds. Pitcher squares around a bunt and stabs at it, misses at strike 1. And you think power pitcher. And he is a power pitcher. He throws hard. But he has never been a big strikeout pitcher. I mean, nowhere close at any point in his career has he come anywhere near a strikeout per inning, even in the minor leagues. That is a foul ball. The closest thing he came to that was 2 years ago in Pensacola when he worked 156 innings, struck out 144.
Well, I think for Sal Romano, he's just now grasping the art of changing speeds within the strike zone. He's always been a stuff guy. Rear back, throw it hard and high, hard running in, make contact, throw that breaking ball, that big snapper down in the dirt. Minor league hitters swing at that all day.
And that's strike 3, trying to bunt the runner over on Fultonevich. Boy, it is amazing what poor bunting technique we have seen by pitchers in the early part of this season. I mean, all over baseball.
Well, you could see the body of Fultonevich there. He was going back towards the manager in the third base dugout. as soon as the ball came out of the hand of Romano. I mean, if you're bailing, it's going to be real hard to make contact.
Cincinnati for the second time. He flied out to the left fielder Duvall on the first pitch of the game. We were starting to talk earlier about Cincinnati. It seems like he's been around forever. I mean, he came up originally through the Arizona Diamondbacks organization. But he's only 27 years old. In fact, he just turned 27 over the winter. Broke in with the Diamondbacks in 2014 after 6 years coming up through their minor league system. Looked like Romano lost his footing on this pitch. Yep.
Got to the side of that spike a little bit, and as he did, just slid right out from underneath him.
Well, you talk about hitting the lottery with a trade. That deal made between the Braves and the Arizona Diamondbacks has a chance to turn out to be one of the great steals of all time. There's a strike. Depending on how the careers play out of Cincinnati, who's already become one of the better all-around center fielders in the game, won the Gold Glove, 300 hitter. Swanson, young, talented shortstop. And basically that was in a deal to get Shelby Miller. What a deal.
You know, and at the time, you knew what you had really in Cincinnati. Dansby Swanson at the time was a kid coming out of college and a very good player, obviously. He was a top pick, but who knew that Shelby Miller would just fall apart? I mean, he just lost all confidence.
If I'm not mistaken, I think he started his Diamondbacks career like 0-7 or 0-8, couldn't get anybody out, and really has never been heard from again.
I mean, I always thought he was an awfully good pitcher and had a bright future when he was in a Cardinal uniform. I mean, I thought he threw the ball awfully well. He threw well for the Braves.
Oh, and 2 on Ender and Cincinnati. They're blocked there by Tucker Barnhart, preventing Swanson from getting into scoring position. No score. We're in the 3rd inning. This will be a 4-game series, night games, all 6:40 starts. If you're thinking about coming down tomorrow and again on Wednesday, and then a 12:40 afternoon start Thursday. Oh boy, just off the outside corner. A fastball by Romano.
I think the Reds were expecting Swanson to go there. As you could see, Barnhart really jump off the plate away as Romano started that way. But right now, Romano not getting very many swings on the breaking ball. He's starting it either too low in the strike zone or off the plate.
Runner goes, and a little bleeder that'll fall in, a base hit into left field. On to third goes Swanson. The ball is thrown past the third baseman. Here comes the runner to the plate. Throw there, and he's safe. And the Braves take a 1-0 lead as Swanson on the run with a pitch scores all the way from first on a bloop single and a throwing error.
Broken bat hit. It's going to fall in front of Duvall. Very aggressive base running by Swanson. And because of the slide to the left field side of the bag, Pennington has to jump over the top of the base runner and can't come up with the ball.
So the Braves jump in front. 1-0 here in the 3rd. It started with a leadoff walk to the number 7 hitter Swanson, but then Romano able to work his way through the next two batters. Made a good pitch, and Enciarte just put the bat on the ball and loops it into short left field. Ozzie Albies a batter. He bounced to the third baseman his first time up.
It's the best breaking ball Romano's thrown yet. That pitch started about thigh high and the bottom falls out of it. It's really a strike whether you swing or not. Now once you make that pitch, they'll chase that ball in the dirt.
One and two, and comes with a fastball to move him off the plate. That was something that Danny Darwin, the new Reds pitching coach, they brought him up when Mac Jenkins was replaced as a Reds pitching coach, and the first thing the veteran Darwin said, we will begin to pitch more inside. Boy, what a pitcher he was back in his day. He had an outstanding major league career. You know, he may not be going to the Hall of Fame, and he's not, but there are pitchers that you can say had great careers, and Danny Darwin had a great career as a pitcher.
He was a tough son of a gun.
He sure was. He fought his own teammate one night.
I'm not advocating fight your own teammate, but I sure like that kind of attitude when you take the field.
Three-two pitch on Ozzie Albies, and we'll do it again.
I was talking location earlier and how much Sal Romano is learning and having to learn it here at the big league level. But you also see the quality hitters and what they do when you get to two strikes. And we're seeing now, as you talked about with Foltynewicz, you get to two strikes, it's 1-2. You're not able to put the guy away. Now, he did get 2 strikeouts of the 8 and 9 hitter, but those were pitches that were right on the edge. You make pitches there consistently, you get those strikeouts. When you're throwing the ball with 2 strikes right in the heart of the plate, you're not going to get a strikeout. You're going to get a foul ball, and your pitch count is going to the roof.
3-2 the count again on Albies. Struck him out swinging to retire the side. Good work by Sal. A run, a hit, an error. 1-0 Atlanta, middle of number 3.
Right there, 7 innings pitches, 2 hits, 2 walks, 10 strikeouts. He became one of just 6 pitchers to face the Reds and have 7 or more innings pitched, 10 strikeouts and no runs. A couple of on this list, pretty good, Tom. Kurt Schilling right there, Kerry Wood, Oliver Perez, Ben Sheets, Adam Wainwright, Foltynewicz, and of course already once this year in Carlos Martinez.
Oh, hey, Pick, nice to have you down there alongside the Reds dugout tonight. Jim Day over on the radio side. So Foltynewicz able to work out of a bases loaded jam in the first inning. 1 ball and 1 strike, top of the order for the Reds here in the third. It'll be Schebler who fly to center his first time up, then Peraza, and then Joey Votto. To Hopper, to the shortstop Swanson. 1 away. Schebler, his 6th career start tonight as a leadoff batter. Last time was in mid-September last year. You know, Scott did a good job in the games where he's been now. Now, granted, it's only 5 games, but on base percentage of nearly .350 in those 5 games and a .318 batting average. And now the batter Peraza, he singled into center field his first time up. You know, before we get too far removed from that conversation a minute ago about the deal with Shelby Miller. When I made the comment, never heard from again, I didn't mean to say that, he's kind of drifted away and not gone through anything. He's had a very serious Tommy John surgery he's still recovering from, and he's still so young. You'd like to think that, who knows, maybe he's able to get back and become the pitcher that Arizona traded for.
Well, I think sometimes when you have that injury like Tommy John, it doesn't show up for maybe a year. Maybe you pitch with an elongated ligament before it's ever discovered that it's actually fraying and tearing. And when it's elongated, it affects your control, and that seemed to be the biggest issue that Shelby Miller had, was the inability to control the strike zone once he got to Arizona.
Popped up short right, and Markakis is there, and Peraza retired for the second out. If a Red hits a home run off that Toyota sign during the game way out there by the power stacks in right center, Corey Vanderhaar from Westchester will win that beautiful new Tundra, on display each and every game here at Great American Ballpark, thanks to your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. So 2 down for Votto. He drew a walk his first time up.
It's amazing to see great hitters come to the plate. Foltynewicz, everybody else in this Reds lineup, he's just pumping it, going right at him. Votto steps to the plate. Doesn't matter if he's hitting 240 or 340. Backdoor slider, changeup, changeup. Hadn't done that to anybody else in the lineup today.
Came with a gas that time and got a foul tip into the middle of the catcher. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Look, you're a great hitter, and we've got a couple of them in this ball game that play first base. When they come to the plate, the guy on the mound, he notices the name on the back of the jersey. He's coming with his A stuff.
And that's strike 3 called. That's another high strike to a left-handed batter. We saw that with Barnhart at the end of the first inning, and Votto having words with the home plate umpire, Chris Conroy. The Kroger meal deal. Check concession stands around the ballpark. The Kroger meal deal. You get a hot dog, bag of chips, 16-ounce Coke, and during this homestand, Danimals Strawberry Explosion Yo-Tubes. Make sure you get your Kroger meal deal today. 1-0 Braves in front. They bat here in the 4th inning. 3, 4, 5. Freeman, Markakis, and Suzuki. We told you the Braves come in 12 wins in their first 20 games. That is good enough for 3rd best in the National League East. The Mets are 14-6, sitting atop the division. The best record in the league belongs to Arizona. Winners of 15 of their front 21. What a start for the Diamondbacks. First baseman to first baseman to pitcher. 1 out.
After missing that ball earlier, Votto was making sure that glove was on the ground that time.
There are guys that go quietly through their careers, that when their careers are over, it's only then where you open your eyes and say, wow, that guy was a pretty good player. This is a guy I'm thinking of in Markakis. He's in Baltimore there. They didn't have very good teams. He's come to Atlanta. They've not been a very competitive team since he arrived. This guy already has over 2,000 hits. 2,000 hits.
And I think when the Braves got Nick Markakis, the idea was to hit him at the top of the order. Now he's hitting 4th. He's protecting Freddie Freeman.
We've seen him bat in the leadoff spot. We've seen him hit in the cleanup spot. Seen him hit in the number 2 spot. He's one of those kinds of players.
Quite capable.
Yep. Just a solid professional player. Grew up in Georgia, so a homecoming for him to come back and play for the Braves. He broke in with the Orioles all the way back in 2006. A career .288 batter. Over 2,000 hits, over 440 doubles. He's closing in on 900 career runs batted in. He's had a couple of years where he's hit 20 or more home runs, couple of years where he's knocked in 100 or more runs. Stung in the left center field, hit a long way, and that one gets out of here for Markakis. A solo home run the other way on a chilly night.
Well, that arm side run down and in to a left-handed batter that we've seen earlier from Romano. The ball starts off the inside, a little bit of sink, comes back down and in. This ball starts up, it starts on the plate and comes right back to the middle, right to the bat head.
Tell you what, I'd have lost some money taking that bet. That Markakis was going to smoke one to the opposite field
and hit it out.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Game time temperatures right in the mid-50s, but it certainly feels a lot chillier than that. And that ball is tagged into left center field, but Duvall runs it down for the second out of the inning, retiring Kurt Suzuki.
Both of those balls are hit hard, but if you don't get the ball up in the air, it's not going over the fence. It's going into the glove of the opponent if it's hit right at him.
Now Preston Tucker, the batter, he bounced to the second baseman his first time up. That was a ball that went through the legs of Votto. Didn't get the ball or the glove all the way down on the ground. It went right through his legs, but Scooter Gennett picked it up behind him. And Romano kept coming to the first base bag, and they got the out. Hooked into right field towards the corner. This will be extra bases for Tucker. Boy, what a year this guy is having. 18 runs batted in. He now has 5 doubles. Preston Tucker.
It's interesting. Watch where this pitch is. Down and in, starts off the plate, catches the corner. Tucker's right on it. The previous pitch was a fastball up and in, started right at the hands of Tucker and came back over the plate, and Tucker took that pitch almost bailing backwards as if to act surprised. Well, whether he was or not, a lot of veteran hitters will do that. Now, not to say that Preston Tucker is, but his reaction is what caused the Reds to go back to that fastball because of the way he reacted to the previous fastball.
So the Braves have put up single runs in each of the last 2 innings and lead 2-0, and trying to keep it right there is Romano with 2 away in the inning, trying to retire Swanson, who walked and scored on the single in the throwing era an inning ago. Fastball in, 1 ball 1 strike. Romano worked into the 6th inning his last start. Was nearly perfect through the front 5. Then he issued a leadoff walk and a home run. Those were the only 2 runs he allowed, but they got him out of the game. Slow bouncer foul wide of third. And he only threw 79 pitches working into the 6th inning of that game before he just hit the bump in the road.
Sometimes it's not the amount of pitches, it's the effort with each pitch. And I think for Romano, each pitch has maximum effort.
1 ball, 2 strikes on Swanson. Check of the runner out at second base by Romano. And Swanson does not chase a breaking ball in the dirt. How about those numbers for Swanson? 12 times has come to the plate with 2 outs and a runner in scoring position. And he is driving them in. Sal trying to change that right here and right now on his 2-2 pitch. Good pitch here in on his hands, tied him up, and a throw is in time, and that'll end the inning. The solo home run by Markakis. Reds will bat in the 4th, trailing Atlanta 2-0.
Vanderbilt had a 21 pitch at bat in the first inning of yesterday's Giants game versus Jaime Barria of the Angels. That set a new Major League Baseball record for most pitches seen in an at bat. The previous was 20. We're showing them all to you. Belt fouled off 16 two-strike pitches before lining out to right field. The at-bat lasted 12 minutes and 45 seconds. Heck, at that point, Tom, I just throw the ball underhand to him.
I'm with you all the way there, Pick, and I think Cowboy would know a little bit more about that than we would. Yeah. Cowboy, what do you do?
He only lasted 2 innings. He threw everything he had to the first batter of the game. That's tough going.
All right, let's see if the Reds can get something going here. Foltynewicz faced the bases loaded with 2 outs in the first inning. He put 2 on with 1 out, got an out on Scooter Gennett, then walked the batter to load him up and struck out Barnhart in the first inning. That has started a run where he's now retired 7 straight. Two runs, 3 hits for the Braves. No runs, 1 hit for the Redlegs. The Reds hit was a 1-out single in the opening inning by Jose Peraza.
Now we've seen Romano with a lot of fastballs underneath the left-handed hitter's hands, down and in, if you will. Foltynewicz, not so much. Most pitches have been up and away unless they've been breaking balls inside, as that pitch was there. That right-handed slider coming into a left-hander right at their hands ties up a lot of hitters. Very similar to a left-handed cutter coming in to a right-handed batter. But you got to get it up there. Heck, we've seen a couple times in the ball game where they were called 3rd strikes on that up and in breaking ball right at the top of the strike zone.
3-2 coming on Scooter Gennett. In and out of the mid of the catcher Suzuki to keep the at bat alive for Scooter.
Now Foltynewicz came in with a fastball there, but Suzuki was setting away.
I got the umpire Con ruling, and the pitcher was giving him an extra minute or 2 to make sure he was okay, and the home plate umpire let him know, I'm fine, let's go. 3-2 to Scooter. And there's ball 4 to begin the inning. Well, coming up later on, we'll have our Hold True moment. That's presented by Miller Lite. See if the Reds can give us something to have a Hold True moment here tonight. Adam Duvall, his first time up, drew a walk. And that's already 3 walks in the game given up by Foltynewicz here tonight. But the first 2 came in the first inning when he got out of that bases loaded jam. 1-1. Breaking ball low and away to Adam. 2 balls and a strike. I mean, Foltynewicz, as we brought up in the very first inning, this guy throws a lot of pitches. That ball in the air to short right center. Markakis calling off Inciarte, and that's out number 1. I mean, here we are, 1 out into the 4th. And he's up over the 70 pitch mark. But bottom line is he's only given up 1 hit and no runs.
Effectively wild and getting some borderline calls.
Yep.
Bases loaded earlier. I mean, that is as high of a strike as you're going to get, especially on a breaking ball. And the same pitch. Watch that upper corner of the box to Joey Votto.
First pitch breaking ball, and there's a strike to Tucker Barnhart.
Now that's the first look, almost like a curveball type action that we've seen from Foltynewicz here tonight. The rest have been those short slider type pitches.
Well, right now, Foltynewicz coming into this game, if you carry over, the way he finished up, even though they shut him down early in September last year, he's allowed 3 earned runs or less in each of his last 8 starts. So that's the best stretch he's ever had in a very short major league career. You go back to mid-August of last year in the games where he started, his ERA is barely over 3, and opponents are only hitting in the 230s against him. So he's on a pretty good run right now and started off this year well.
And he's not really a pitcher that pitches on the corners per se. He does pitch in the upper quadrant of the strike zone, as we saw with both the breaking balls and the last fastball there to Barnhart. But he's got good movement. He's unpredictable. Effectively wild. He's just around the strike zone just enough, but he's going to have 100 pitches in 5+ innings pretty much every time he goes out there.
And because of what Cowboy is talking about, even though he's given up the 3 runs or fewer in his last 8 starts, you just look at his starts this year, because of all the pitches piling up, he's gone 5 innings, 92 pitches. 5 1/3, 95 pitches. 5 innings, 104 pitches. And then the game against Philadelphia, you see there, 6 innings, 1 run, but 105 pitches. So you're going to use a bullpen when he takes him out a lot.
That's a pretty good changeup right there. Started that one middle in. Barnhart has to look fastball there, and he just runs out of bat.
So 2 away in the inning, and now the batter is Pennington. He flied out to center his first time up. 2-0 Atlanta. A walk, a single, and error led to the Braves' first run, then a solo home run by Markakis in the 4th. Made it 2-0. 2 balls and a strike on Pennington. And now the count even. It's a very, very limited schedule around baseball. In fact, this is the only game in the National League that's being played in either the Eastern or the Central time zones tonight. Colorado's at home, the Dodgers are at home, the Giants are at home, everybody else is off. Strike 3, and that's all. 6 strikeouts in a game for Foltynewicz. Braves lead at the end of 4, 2-0. And by your local Ford dealer, Ford. Go further. Chilly night, but thankfully a dry night so far. There was talk earlier this morning, Cowboy. I know you were checking out the radar, and they were talking about 100% chance of rain pretty much all day and all night tonight. And it looked we were heading in that direction. Then all of a sudden, things have really brightened up considerably, and so far so good. Keep our fingers crossed for that.
And we got started on time. It didn't look that way at 6 o'clock.
No question. That ball hit the other way down the line by Flaherty, and foul.
Two called strikes on the inner half, actually right on the inside corner to Flaherty his first time up, and he gets the first pitch changeup in this at bat.
8, 9, and 1 in the batting order.
Back-to-back changeups.
Three in a row. When's the last time you saw Romano do that?
Not very often.
2 balls and a strike. You figure they're coming fastball in here. We'll see. Yep, and missed out and in. 3 balls and a strike.
Well, the problem that you have right now, if you want to throw a changeup and get the feel for it, the 8-hole hitter, that's fine and good, but you better be able to come back and get him out. You do not want to walk this guy.
Fastball on 3-1 and fouled off by Flaherty, so the count runs full.
I mean, you see it all the time. You walk the 7 or 8 hole hitter, you get the pitcher coming to the plate, bunt him into scoring position. There's a reason guys bat 1, 2, 3. They're the best hitters on the team.
Strike 3 called. Same pitch he got him out the last time. A fastball in the inside corner.
Great comeback.
4 strikeouts now for Big Sal Romano.
Now, when you can do that, Flaherty will walk back to the dugout, and the guys over there will say, was that 3 changeups in a row he threw you? That can make a difference for a guy that's on the mound. Now every hitter can't come up there thinking dead red, I'm just going to jerk this fastball inside. I don't think Foltynewicz likes the baseball, because as soon as Romano starts in his windup, he is backing up towards the third base dugout. He did it when he bunted, and he's doing it here.
Back-to-back strikeouts, 5 of them now in the game for Sal, and the first 2 retired here in the 5th. And now a quick message from Miami Valley Gaming.
Get ready to get lucky.
Romano had 1, 2, 3 innings in the first and the second. The Braves get single runs in the third and the fourth, and now an out away from a perfect 5th.
Well, you could see Inciarte turn around and look right where Tucker Barnhart was setting up. And he's going back in there.
And he quickly gets ahead, 0-2. Cincinnati a fly ball to left, and he singled. Bloop singled. And if you weren't with us, that was back in the third inning in a 0-0 game with a runner at first base. On a 3-2 pitch, a runner was on the move. And Cincinnati just fought one off and looped one over Peraza's head in short left field. The throw went into third, got by the third baseman, and the runner scored. And oh my gosh, the entire Reds defense was walking back to the dugout thinking that's strike 3. And it was called ball 1. Watch Romano. He's heading to the dugout. Tapper behind the bag. Justice is served. 1, 2, 3 in the 5th. Reds trail 2-0. Braves. Reds Live kicks off our coverage at 6 o'clock. Game coverage at 6:30 on Fox Sports Ohio. Then streaming live on Fox Sports Go. April in the OHIO. Presented by Menards. Reds bat last to the 5th. Romano, Hamilton, then the leadoff batter Schebler. Romano hit the ball right on the screws his first time up. A line short hop to the shortstop. And Swanson threw him out. A ball and a strike. 2 runs and 3 hits for the Braves. No runs, 1 hit for the Reds. The Reds' only hit of the game came off the bat of Jose Peraza, the second batter of the game in the opening inning. Three and 1. And now 3 and 2. That was a 3-2 pitch the last time Romano stung that liner to the shortstop. And he had been tardy on a couple of fastballs prior to that, like he was on that one. Throws this one by him, and that is 7 strikeouts in the game for Fultonevich. And here we are, 1 batter into the 5th inning. You can see signs of why they really like this guy. I mean, clearly there are chinks in the armor. His command, a lot of nibbling when he gets ahead of batters, high pitch count. Subsequently follows when you're striking out a lot of guys and walking a lot of guys and going deep into a lot of counts on a number of hitters.
But there are times for Fultonevich where he'll make a pitch just like he did. Confidence, get a breaking ball over for a strike. He'll throw a changeup, as we saw with a couple of batters, a couple of left-handed batters, and just pulls it out of the rabbit out of the hat. Couple of well-placed sliders up in the strike zone, and he's got a phenomenal arm. There's no doubt that he has a great fastball. But just by looking at his mechanics, and we talked about this to begin the ballgame, he sets his right foot, never moves it, regardless if somebody's on base or not.
Well, we've seen that from more and more pitchers in recent years, where they're just trying to keep everything as simple as possible, with as little movement as possible. You know, things don't go haywire on you with all the different movements, and both feet shifting and moving around and finding the rubber and hands over the head.
Well, you get some pitchers that are trying to create velocity with their mechanics. I mean, look, this is about as simple as you can get. I get the sign, I pick my knee up, I throw it to the plate.
Here's ball 4 to Billy. All right, we'll see if we got some action here with the top of the order coming up after the 1-out walk to Hamilton. That's 4 walks along with 7 strikeouts in this game for Fultonevich. All right, here's Schebler batting in a leadoff spot for the first time this year, 6th time in his major league career. 0 for 2 in the game. Strike 1. Doesn't throw him the fastball in the first pitch.
But he's knocking on the door of 100 pitches with 1 out here in the 5th.
You know, this has really been one of the oddest bullpens to try and figure out for this Atlanta team. They had a huge article yesterday in the Atlanta paper really diving into some of the numbers. They have walked by far as a group this Atlanta bullpen, and I mean by far more than any other bullpen in Major League Baseball through the first 3+ weeks of the season. They have hit more batters than any bullpen. And so the opponent's on base percentage is very, very high. On the other side of the ledger, the bullpen's only given up 2 home runs, and opponents are batting in the 190s against this bullpen, so they'll pitch themselves into trouble. And as you pointed out, outside of 1 awful inning, what, 9 runs? This ball drilled to deep center field. We might be tied. We are. Schebler, a 2-run laser to the lawn and center field, and it's a tie game.
Schebler got a fastball up in his last at bat that he grounded out to the shortstop. This time he gets the same fastball, but instead it's a tomahawk swing and a line drive bullet out of dead center field.
That spans 212 at bats since the last Reds home run. They did not hit a home run on the road trip. Their last home run came on the final game of the last home stand. Fly ball to center. That's out number 2. But what a time to get it. After the walk to Billy Hamilton, Schebler his 2nd home run and just his, what, 22nd at bat of the year.
What's amazing about that is Fultonevich got ahead very quickly on Schebler. And that 2-strike fastball, trying to get it up above the strike zone. Schebler can hit that high ball now. We've seen that more times than the low ball home run.
I tell you though, Cowboy, I've said it once, I've said it 10,000 times. I wish I just had a quarter for every time I've seen the catcher do that, where you want to throw it up and they throw it out of the zone because everybody's being taught to keep the ball down. Now you're asking a guy to do something totally different, right? And in this case, I mean, Fultonevich by and large has kept everything down in this game. Now you're asking him to come up, and he doesn't come up high enough, so it didn't work. Hooked just out of the reach of a leaping Albies into right field. That's a base hit for Joey with 2 away.
Caught it off the end of the bat, and you could see Albies trying to time his leap, just couldn't quite get high enough.
Freeman is ready in the bullpen, and it looks like they're going to go ahead and make the change. They're going to bring in the left-hander Sam Freeman. So here Fultonevich cruising along, or are they bringing in the right-hander Carl? We'll find out in a minute. We know we have Scooter Gennett. You would figure the left-handers coming into the game. This will be our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. Back in a moment. With a runner at first, 2 runs home, and a 2-2 game in the 5th to face Scooter Gennett.
You look at the numbers, you see the 8 walks. Well, I think 5 of those was in the ball game that you brought up earlier, Tom, against the Chicago Cubs. Normally Sam Freeman is around the plate, but if he pitches at this rate through the rest of the 2018 season, he's going to need a new left arm. 14 appearances already.
Now let me ask you, I'm curious, because he's roughly thrown the same number of innings as Amir Garrett. He's only thrown 9+ innings, right, in those 14 appearances. So a lot of outings like this where maybe we'll see how it plays out. He comes in to face one batter, and then they get him out of there. You being a former all-star reliever, now your job most of these years, not all of those years, was as a setup guy where you were used a little more frequently than the closer. But is there a difference between appearances versus innings?
I think there is to a certain extent. But when you're getting up and getting hot every day or every other day, that takes its toll when you hit August.
Well, he's following the numbers right now of the 8 walks in the 9+ innings, because he's fallen behind Jeanette. And now 3 balls and a strike. They do have a right-handed ready in their bullpen, Shane Carl, although we don't see him down there throwing right now. He was up alongside Freeman a moment ago, so he's probably ready if they need it. 3-2. And there you see. Most appearances so far. Boy, Brian Shaw is going to be a busy man. He left Cleveland, and now he is in Denver. Mercy. Getting paid for it.
And he's a 75-80 appearance guy.
Wow. Gone swinging Jeanette, so Freeman comes all the way back after getting behind 3-0. The Reds tie the game on a 2-run home run by Schebler. 2-2. We go to the 6th.
Pitcher in Major League Baseball history to lose a 9-inning no-hitter when the Reds beat the Colt 45s. Pete Rose reaches second on a throwing error by Johnson and scores the game's only run on another error on a Veda Pinson ground ball. Reds win it 1-0. How about that?
How about that is right. Love going back and checking in on those days in history with the Reds. Such a, of course, the oldest professional baseball franchise, and just so many incredible games and players. Household names, not just to Reds fans, but baseball fans all over America and beyond. So now Romano working in a tie game again. Rays with single runs in the 3rd and the 4th. Reds a 2-run home run by Schebler in the bottom of the 5th. And he'll face 2, 3, and 4 in the batting order. Albies, Freeman, then Markakis. So a nice job on Albies, 0 for 2.
So you're talking about the history of the Reds. Now, when you were growing up, did you follow the Reds wholeheartedly all the time?
Well, you know, we didn't move here until I was in, the 5th grade, something like that. We were living in Virginia Beach, Virginia. How about that? Are you kidding me? The bare hand by Romano on the sharp comebacker to the mound. Well done, big fella.
Albies almost falls down trying to hit this ball. And then that catch by Romano. You might see that more times than once.
I mean, when you're 6'5", 270, don't need a stinking glove.
Cold night. They want to check on him and make sure. All right, so when you moved here in 5th grade, you followed the Reds. That was like your team, right?
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. Okay. And having a chance to come to the ballpark pretty regularly, and you know, it's pretty cool. You grew up a Reds fan, though, all the way down in Alabama.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. All right, here we are. We're sitting in the same booth. We're relatively a week apart in age.
Right.
You're following them here, and I'm following in Alabama. Now we're sitting here.
Exactly right. Small world, isn't it?
No doubt. But it tells you about the history of the Reds, not just from Alabama or from Cincinnati, but people all over the country that are Reds fans. They may not be here, but you know they're listening or you know they're watching.
Better believe that. You know who's watching tonight? Peter Edward Rose. He reminded me of that game Pick was just talking about a minute ago. Joe Nuxall, the old left-hander, 3-hitter. How about that?
Dealing.
Hope Pete's doing well. He just celebrated a birthday recently. Of course, now Pete's been following the Reds since he was barely out of the womb.
Oh, yeah.
Growing up in the west side of Cincinnati, Western Hills High School.
Most of my buddies growing up, they followed the team the Reds are playing here tonight.
Yes, yes. And, you know, back in those days, it's hard for a lot of fans maybe of this generation to understand now. Nice play by Jeanette, and from short right field throws out Freeman 2 away. There was a time really where there were 3 teams that had what were called superstations. And for a lot of you, maybe you have no idea what I'm talking about by that term, but basically everybody had basic cable TV, and you get your local channels, and you get, you know, whatever other cable stations were starting up. But the 3 that had pretty much across the country on every cable system for whatever reason. Number 1, the Braves in the startup of TBS.
Right.
Number 2, the Chicago Cubs of WGN. And the third one, not as prominent as the other 2, but certainly on most cable systems, was WWOR, the New York Mets.
Right.
And so
those are the 3 games we got. That was it. Unless it was a game of the week on a Saturday. And it wasn't like today where you just got 1 game. That was it.
Just extraordinary the way that television has changed, and now every game, whether it's watching it on some kind of, you know, package you can buy at the beginning of the year, or on your mobile phone, or on your computer, and all over the world. I mean, we get letters during the course of the season from Reds fans watching in Germany, watching in Japan, all over the world. And every team has that.
The statement that you just made, being able to watch it on your phone, in your hand, not in your den, in your hand.
That's right. There's a strike, 3-1 on Markakis, who homered his last time up to left center field. That's why we push all the time about, you know, the Fox Sports Go app you can get on your telephone. So you can be sitting in the office. You know, you can be waiting on meeting some buddies out for dinner and check in on the game. 3-1 pitch. And a base hit in the left field by Markakis. Boy, guy can hit. We were talking about him earlier. He can really hit.
Upset about the pitch before. But look at the head, the shoulder, and the eyes as he takes his hands to the baseball. There's no pull off. He's not looking somewhere else. He's right on the ball. The entire body is going to the baseball. And then just slaps it right on the barrel of the bat through the left side of the infield. And you would think to yourself, okay, that guy's a slap hitter. Well, yeah, he slapped one out over the 379 sign in his last at bat.
Fastball into Suzuki. Who has flied to right field and lined out hard to Duvall his last time up. That was after the Markakis home run. Suzuki drilled one into left, and the next batter, Tucker, doubled. And you're thinking, you know, maybe the Braves are starting to square up Romano a little bit, but he's on a pretty good run right now. On the outside corner, a strike to even the count. His team comes back from a 2-run deficit on the home run by Schebler to tie it up. And now Romano, you know, he's 0-2 right now. He wants to get in that win column. So trying to get a goose egg here in the Atlanta 6 with 2 outs and a runner at first. You'll frequently hear about, you know, wins are not a big deal, and sometimes they don't measure how well a pitcher pitches or doesn't pitch. For a starter, when you're in the game for 5, 6, 7 innings, a lot of it, not all of it, but a lot of it rides on how well you pitch. And believe me, for these pitchers, they like getting wins next to their name.
Yeah, that you're playing the game to win or lose. There's a lot of statistics that go with it. But at the end of the day, it's either winning or losing.
Good fastball there to make it a 2 balls and 2 strikes. Now, you know, if you're a guy like Fultonevich, and he came in with 8 starts in a row where he's given up 3 runs or fewer, but they're not scoring any runs for the guy. They get him 2 runs tonight. Yeah, that's out of his control.
Yeah, but he had it made in the beginning of the ballgame. He gave up 1 hit through the first 4 innings. But he let the pitch count elevate on him, and that's why he's out of the ball game. Doesn't even finish 5. He's got no chance to win, whether he's out there or whether they're winning or not.
Hit down the left field line, sounded like a broken bat, and caught out there by Duvall, and that's all for the Braves in the 6th inning. Romano, 6 innings of 2-run baseball in a 2-2 game. Performing a live concert from the field on Saturday, August 11th. Everyone with a ticket to the game at night will have a chance to enjoy the show from one of country music's hottest young acts. Purchase the tickets now at Reds.com. You dialed in on Jake Owen?
Any 8-second ride. I like him.
Well, you know, when you see Romano talking to, getting chest bumps from Billy Hamilton and talking to others down there, it leads you to believe, yeah, he's getting high fives now from Mesoraco, that his night is over. It's 98 pitches for Romano through 6 innings.
And if you're a club where you're winning every single night, then you may give Romano an extra inning. But right now, you're searching for a win. So you get Wandy Peralta up, and you try to finish this game with the best 2 guys you got. You may see Iglesias in the 8th inning here.
So Wandy indeed cranking it up down there, and it's Freeman who had to get the final out in the 5th inning for the starter, Fultonevich. Let's have Duvall, Barnhart, Pennington here in inning number 6. You know, there really have been a pile of pitches, if you think about it, thrown in this game for just a 2-2 score, and really not much action. It's not like either team's hitting the ball. There's a combined total of 7 hits. 2 of them home runs in this game. But each starter roughly right around 100. In Fultonevich's case, that was fewer than 5 innings. And in Romano's case, that's nearly 100 through 6. Adam has drawn a walk, and he's flied out to right field. Final numbers on Fultonevich: 4 2/3 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs earned. He walked 4, fanned 7. Romano goes 6, allows 4 hits, 2 runs, 1 of the 2 runs an earned run. He struck out 5 and walked just 1. So that's a good outing by Sal Romano tonight.
I would say that the Reds would take that every 5th day from anybody.
Yeah, fist pump indeed, although I wouldn't be fist pumping Schebler. I mean, there are a lot of guys I might fist pump. Schebler ain't one of them. That guy's built like a tree trunk, man. I mean, that's country strong Schebler. Iowa boy, and he is Iowa strong. You get next to that dude, I'm telling you, that is one strong man, Schebler.
Fire hydrant.
Yeah.
We saw an example of his strength a little earlier in this ball game.
Yes, we did. Three and 2, and there's ball 4 to start the inning. So he mentioned earlier when Freeman came in the game, in a little more than 9 innings this year, he's striking out a batter per inning, but he is now walking nearly a batter per inning. And here's Tucker Barnhart, who has struck out looking and struck out swinging. This will be the first time tonight where Tucker turns around to bat right-handed. Only 6 at bats this entire year for Barnhart as a right-handed batter, but he has 3 hits and 2 doubles.
I would imagine Barnard at this point is just glad to face somebody else besides Fultonevich. Had a tough time picking him up.
Base hit left center field. Let's see if Duvall's going to take a chance for third. He is. And he will get to third. Boy, that's excellent base running there by Duvall. Very aggressive running. There are a lot of guys in this league that don't take that base. With a left-handed throwing center fielder moving to his right.
I love the aggressive nature. And you can see Duvall made this decision for himself. He put the head down as he put his foot on top of second base and never hesitated.
No, Duvall's no plotter out there. I mean, we've seen him run around and make really good plays in the outfield. For a big, strong guy, he moves pretty well.
And that's evident by his play in left field. He gets the balls that there are a lot of left fielders they don't get to, whether it's jump, speed, or just sheer talent.
So they're going to talk things over here on the mound. No signal given to the bullpen. I don't believe unless I missed it. They have a left-hander just getting up and a right-hander just getting up. So the Braves pitching coach Chuck Hernandez will just check in with his pitcher and he'll head back to the dugout.
Well, if you're Brian Snitker, you don't make a move here with Pennington coming to the plate. You make your move when Jim Riggleman makes his move in the pitcher spot, which is the 8th spot. You have to count on your pitcher Freeman being able to get out a guy that's hitting 125 in Cliff Pennington.
Big chance for Pennington. He's only had one at bat this whole year from the right side. He's a switch hitter. They have Moylan, the right-hander. They have Biddle, the left-hander, throwing in the bullpen. Big spot for Pennington. Trying to give the Reds a lead for the first time tonight. 2-0.
Phil Goslin is the man that has moved out into the Reds on deck circle.
High and tight, 3-0. Goslin is 1 for 9 as a pinch hitter so far this year. And of course, he is a straight up right-handed batter. 4-pitch walk. Walk, single, walk to load him up for the Redlegs with nobody out. And maybe now they come get Farmer.
Yeah, Freeman, he came into the ball game 3 straight pitches out of the strike zone. And now you can see Suzuki going to the mound. This is nothing more than just a stall to give Peter Moreland a little bit more time to get ready in the bullpen.
All right, so here comes a skipper to make the change. Well, I tell you, it's got to be so frustrating, and we've seen it here with the Reds. I mean, look, the Reds relievers led the league in walks in each of the last 2 years. But what has to be even doubly frustrating for Atlanta, what we talked about earlier, their relievers are hard to hit. But when you're walking guys, there's no defense for that. So that's all for Farmer. Why did all that take so long? They're worried about time of the game?
Because they let the catcher go out first. He gets to take his time out there. You knew they were going to make the change. You could see Snitker sitting at the bottom of the steps. Snitker never moved until the umpire at home plate, Chris Conroy, started out to the mound. Then he came up off the top step. He didn't move at the mound until the first base umpire, C.B. Buckner, looked at him or started to come in from the infield.
And said, who you bringing in? All right, Reds have them loaded with nobody out. On from the bullpen. Back in Atlanta, where he has spent all but really a year and a half of his major league career, coming off an outstanding season in Kansas City, 79 games a year ago, and off to an excellent start this year. Although again, you look at the walks, 6 of them in 5 1/3 innings. Not allowed an earned run, but he walks into the toughest spot there is. And Jesse Winker is the pinch hitter for the Reds.
No place to walk anybody here.
First pitch swinging. Winker trying to jump on something right from the get-go, and he's down to strike. So Goslin was announced. He's burned.
You know, it's interesting watching Peter Moylan, because there were years ago he was much more over the top and in the middle 90s in velocity. Now almost sidearm, trying to run the ball in on righties, down and away from lefties. But he's reinvented himself.
Yes. Guy's had a solid major league career. All right, Reds trying to break a 2-2 tie. Winker up quickly, down 2 strikes. Mentioned this young man grew up in Australia. Was signed originally by the Minnesota Twins in 1996. But was signed by the Braves a couple of years later. Reached the big leagues in 2006. Breaking ball down low. You know, he was 10 years out of baseball after he originally signed. He pitched for 2 years in the United States, did not pitch again for 9 years, and came back to America. 1-2 on Winker. Breaking ball down low. Left-handed batters through the years have had good success against Moylan. They're 2 of 6 this year with 4 walks. And career-wise, left-handed batters .299 batting average against Moylan.
Well, you had to know Jim Riggleman wanted Winker in this situation.
And there's a base hit by Winker that'll drive in 1 run. And giving a stop sign is Billy Hatcher on Barnhart, and Jesse Winker comes off the bench with a pinch hit run scoring single, and the Reds lead for the first time tonight.
Fastball really not even on the plate, but it's at 85 miles an hour, and it's running away from Winker, and Jesse just barrels it up, stays right on it. But I was mentioning that with Riggleman, Tom, because he sent Goslin to the plate knowing that Brian Snitker had to make a move after Freeman walked the bases loaded. Well, the move is not going to be a left-hander to come in to face a right-hander. It's going to be righty on righty. You got to leave the pitcher in then. It gives Riggleman the advantage of putting his best bench hitter to the plate in Winker.
Billy Hamilton, the batter. Well, now you have a chance to really get some breathing room here. You have a 1-run lead. You have the bases loaded. Still nobody out. Hamilton has struck out and drawn a walk. This run is charged, of course, to Freeman. Nothing in 2 on Billy. This is the first lead the Reds have had in a game since last Monday in Milwaukee. That's a game they scored 10 runs en route to the 10-4 win over the Brew Crew. First out of the inning. Sal Romano, yes sir, rev up the engines, big fella, giving us a lead. Here's Schebler.
That base hit by Winker also gives the man revving up the engines a chance to pick up a W in this ball game.
Schebler is fly to center, grounded to short, tied this game 1 inning ago with a 2-run big fly. Straight away center. Strike 1.
Well, if you're Schebler here, you've got to be thinking left center field, You're almost 10 miles an hour off the fastball of the previous pitcher you hit the ball out of dead center. So you've got to wait, and that is the toughest thing for a hitter to do, is to wait.
Schebler jumping on a high fastball. They were trying to get way up in his zone. Didn't get it up high enough. And he made him pay. His second home run, first since coming off the DL. Freeman to the plate. They get the out there. And that is his second out in the inning.
Slow sidearm sinker baller, and that's what Moylan is looking for.
So now it's up to Jose Peraza if the Reds are going to add to this one-run lead. Peraza singled to center in the first inning, fly to right in the third, and then flied out to center field in the fifth.
Well, you'd like to see one of those sinkers come in and stay on the plate for Peraza and let him jerk it down that left field line.
How about that? Shot into right field, a base hit on a 1-0 pitch. That'll bring in one more. And Peraza with a big 2-out run scoring single, his second hit tonight. And the Reds are up now 4-2 thanks to Jose Peraza.
That was not the fastball in. It was actually a fastball away. And Peraza stays on it and stayed on top of it as well.
It's good hitting there by Peraza.
A lot of times that ball gets popped up.
So now they're loaded for Votto, but they're going to make yet another pitching change. This will be the third pitcher we've seen in this inning. Freeman, Moylan, and now a left-hander in Jesse Biddle to face Joey Votto when we come back. Still have the bases loaded. 2 are out. And Jesse Biddle, a southpaw, comes on to face the left-handed batting Joey Votto. And there's ball 1 to Joey. Ball 2 to Joey. And this is precisely what we were talking about
with the Braves bullpen.
With the Braves bullpen. Now look, they've given up what, 2 hits, but a couple of walks, falling behind a lot of batters, putting them into favorable counts. They've been very hard to hit this year, but they've had a terrible time throwing strikes. And it's 3-0 on Votto. Now we know Joey will cut it loose frequently on a 3-0 pitch. I'd be surprised here.
I would too.
But he's Joey Votto. He doesn't need to cut it loose. That's a 4-pitch walk to bring in a run. And the Reds now lead 5-2. That's a third walk in this inning, and all 3 batters that have been walked in this inning have either scored or get credit for an RBI. And now Scooter Gennett, another left-handed batter. Strike 1. It'll fall to hit. 2 more runs will score. And the Reds have scored 5 here in the 6th inning to take a 7-2 lead.
Got underneath this breaking ball. But Jeanette didn't hit it hard enough to get it to the left fielder. He just drops it right between Dansby Swanson and Preston Tucker. That's one of those times where it's better to be lucky than good.
Got that right. How about this, though? The Reds 2 outs in the inning. I mean, you saw Hamilton strike out for the first out. They get the force out at home, and you're thinking, boy, the Reds are going to squander a big chance here. But Peraza with the big 2-out single. The bases loaded walk to Votto. Now a 2-out, 2-run single by Jeanette. And here's a man who started the whole thing with a walk. Adam Duvall. Votto, the runner at second. Scooter, Jeanette at first, and a ground ball sharply hit to short. That will end the inning, but 10 come to the plate in a 5-run 6th. Oh boy, did the Redlegs need that. Romano now in line for the win if the bullpen can nail it down. Join the Hall of Famer Troy Aikman along with Joel Klatt in Dallas for all the big picks on Thursday and Friday live on Fox and the NFL Network. Reds fell behind in this one 2-0. They tied the game on a 2-run home run from Scott Schebler in the 5th, and then in the 6th. They come up with 5 runs and lead 7-2 as Wandy Peralta takes over for Sal Romano.
Peralta was about as good as it got out of the bullpen for the Reds last year. Matter of fact, it seemed like he threw so much he kind of ran out of gas there in August.
Oh, he was having one of the best seasons among all relievers in Major League Baseball. I don't care if you're talking about a setup guy, closer, doesn't make any difference. He was incredible.
And he's gotten off to a good start this year, but not quite as consistent within the strike zone as we saw last year.
Well, he's come out back-to-back strikes in this at bat against Preston Tucker. He'll be followed by the shortstop Swanson, and then Flaherty, the third baseman. 6, 7, 8 in the batting order. All right, Reds trying to get 9 more outs in this one, leading by 5, and that should be strike 3, and it is. A fastball, and Tucker gone looking on 3 pitches.
Three pretty good pitches right there. All right on that outside part of the plate.
Swing and a miss by Swanson.
That's a great changeup. When you have a hitter swing full bore and the bat has already cleared the plate before the ball ever gets there, you know you got a good one.
0-1 on Swanson, and a 2-hopper to the glove side for Peraza in the dirt.
Nice pitch.
And Joey has to snatch it out of there. 2-1. Votto give it a little lip over there to Peraza. Come on, man. You can read his lips. Come on.
Got to the side of that one a little bit on the throw. But you'd rather have that short hop at first base than the long hop.
Yes. Yeah, that one that bounces about 8-10 feet in front of you, it just eats you up. It's good stuff. That ball stung right at the left fielder Duvall, and how about Wandy? A 1-2-3 7th inning. So the Reds right back to the dugout, leading by 5.
20,000 fans through the gates will receive a Eugenio Suarez bobblehead. It's presented by John Morrell. See your Reds in action for as low as $12 for tickets. Visit Reds.com.
All right, Pick, thank you very much. Here we go with the Reds coming to the plate against the left-hander Biddle. He came on to face Joey Votto with the bases loaded. And it was a 1-run game. He walked Votto on 4 straight pitches. And the next batter, Jeanette, a left-handed hitter, had a 2-run single to make it a 5-run inning. Breaking ball in there, a strike to Barnhart. One of the runs charged to Boylan. 2 of the runs charged, or I beg your pardon, 3 of the runs charged to Boylan. 2 of the runs charged to Freeman. Two and 2 the count on Barnhart. To the left. The 360 and the throw by Flaherty in time, 1 away as we open the bottom of the 7th inning. The Reds leading by 5.
You know, it's not the 4 hits that kill you in that 6th inning for the Braves. It's the walks.
Yep.
The walks kill you.
And that's exactly precisely what we were talking about before this game ever began. It's one of the oddest series of numbers that just don't add up. I mean, they add up. I mean, it's not hard to figure out. This isn't, rocket science, as we like to say, but the fact that the Braves bullpen has been really hard to hit. They've been extraordinarily stingy with a home run ball. They've only given up 2 all year long, but yet they have walked more batters than any other bullpen in baseball. They've hit more batters than any other bullpen in baseball, and we're seeing that tonight. A lot of times what we've seen here tonight where they'll walk guys, but because they've been tough to hit, they've been able to get out of some of these jams. Tonight the walks put them in a tough spot and the Reds got base hits. But this one not over. 5-run game in the 7th.
Braves pitchers have walked 7 batters already. Now the Reds didn't cash it in till the 5th inning, but they cashed it in big time in the 6th.
To Hopper to the shortstop Swanson. He flips it over to first, and the first 2 gone against Biddle here in the 7th inning. For Wandy Peralta, this will be his first Major League Baseball plate appearance as a batter. If you're wondering, 2 for 22 in his career in the minor leagues. Only Joe Luckham could pull that out of his hat. Holy Moses. And one of his 2 hits was a triple.
I hope he doesn't hit a triple here. I'd rather see him get 3 outs in the bottom of the top of the next inning.
You know, I don't think you have to worry about that, Cowboy.
I may have just instructed him not to swing.
Gone swinging is Wandy. He did. He tripled up. 3 pitches to go down.
The Cincinnati Reds. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Take a look at our game summary tonight. Braves got a run in the 3rd. They got another run in the 4th on this Nick Markakis home run for an early 2-0 lead. But in the 5th inning, the Reds started to turn the table. Schebler, his first home run since coming off the disabled list, knotted things at 2. And then in the 6th inning, the Reds took advantage of 3 walks. They get a pinch hit single by Winker to break the tie, and then with 2 outs, Peraza an RBI single, Votto had a bases loaded walk, Jeanette a 2-run single. So they scored 4 runs with 2 outs and the bases loaded in the inning, a 5 spot all told, and we go to the 8th. The Reds lead 7-2. You know, this year with the bases loaded, the Reds had been coming into that inning 4 for 23. They went 3 for 5 with the bases loaded in that 5-run series.
I like that second figure better.
I think Jim Riggleman does too. First pitch swinging, Charlie Culberson. 1 pitch, 1 out for Wandy. You were telling a story about Culberson in between innings.
His father was my first professional center fielder with the Fresno Giants.
How about that?
Many moons, many moons. You know, something that will not go down in the box score, Tom, and we mentioned it when it happened. Can't happen without the base hit by Barnhart into left center field, but the aggressive base running, taking third base on a ball hit on the ground into left center field with a Gold Glove center fielder coming after the baseball. Not only did it show aggressiveness from the Reds, but to me it kind of sets a tone of expectation in that inning. He got a leadoff walk. He goes to third base on a ball to left center field. Kind of raises the bit of excitement there.
That was Adam Duvall. Here's Ender Inciarte. 1 of 3 in the game, had a single in the 3rd inning. He's also fly to left and bounced to short. First time that Wandy has missed the strike zone since coming on. He's retired 4 straight. And there's a base hit into left field by Inciarte.
That almost looked like a backhand in a tennis match. Just flips the bat out there. Pretty good pitch too. And let's not sleep on the Braves in the 7th, 8th, and 9th. They can put runs on the board, especially late and quick.
Well, we talked about this Atlanta offense. I mean, this is among the very best offensive teams in all of Major League Baseball through these first, well, nearly 3.5 weeks. They lead the National League in runs, double, slugging percentage, batting average. But Wandy's going to get the second out here in this inning. Off the bat of Albies, a hitless night for him, came in red hot. And the duo of Romano and now Peralta have shut him down. And this is what's amazing. And even going back to last year, they were among the very best teams of winning games coming from behind late in games. They just picked off the New York Mets late a couple of nights ago. So Freddie Freeman the batter with 2 outs and a runner at first base. We're in the top of the 8th inning. Freeman tonight hitless as well. Light rain beginning to fall now here in downtown Cincinnati. We've been dodging rain all night long and hoping to continue to dodge it here for 7 more outs. Certainly have to feel fortunate so far because the weather forecast, even as late as 3-4 o'clock this afternoon, was just brutal. That one fisted into right. It'll fall in a hit. And the runner will go first to third. Throw there not nearly in time. So the Braves have runners on the corners with 2 outs against Peralta after the base hit by Freeman, his first of the night. And here comes Markakis, who has 2 hits, including a home run.
Boy, Freddie Freeman just doesn't give in. Every pitch, he's on a battle. We talked about both of those guys at first base. Tough outs. It's a 7-2 ball game, and he's still battling for his life up there. That was a 2-strike hit on a pitch that was well in off the plate.
Well, Wandy's got to get down to business here. Markakis settling in, taking off for second, and they'll let him go is Freeman. Boy, long look in by Peralta and too long for Markakis.
Well, you have a runner at first base. Once he takes second, the signs change.
Sure.
And normally you have the catcher running out. Hey, we're using second sign now, or we're using third sign, whatever it is. Not anymore. And they're crossed up. And now Tucker's going to have to go to the mound. Those are the types of things that you have to be able to remember and not be reminded of. If you know you're going to use second sign with a runner at second base, then that's what you do.
You know, we were talking earlier about Danny Darwin. And about how this guy pitched for 21 years in the major leagues, 21 seasons, won 171 games in a career pitching ERA of 3.8. Made his major league debut with the Rangers in 1978. His last game as a Giant in 1998. Struck out nearly 2,000 batters in his career. And when you consider most of his years in the big leagues were as a reliever, that is an incredible number. In fact, one year he led the National League in earned run average. Swing and a miss.
That's a whole lot of pitching.
Long time. And now Peralta's putting himself in a really, really tough spot. 3 balls and a strike. 2 singles in the inning. And Raisel Iglesias is getting ready in a hurry in a Reds bullpen. Fastball in on the hands at 95, fouled away. 3-2.
I think too many times in this spot, especially when your team is losing, you get a couple of runners aboard like this and you're thinking to yourself as a pitcher, I can't give up a run, I can't give up a run. The 1 run doesn't matter. You've got a 7-2 lead. What you don't want to do is walk batters and allow the momentum to change.
Broken bat, but he stays alive by fouling it off. On the way to Markakis. Base hit center field. That'll bring in a couple of runs. Hamilton's throw to the plate will be cut off. And the Braves are within 3. It's a 7-4 game here in the 8th inning.
You get in a spot at 3-2 where you've got to continue to throw something close to the plate. 3 straight fastballs in on the hands of Markakis, and finally he guesses right.
Well, that's going to be all for Peralta. Jim Riggleman, the interim manager of the Reds, has signaled for Raisel Iglesias. Peralta, an inning and 2/3, gives up 3 hits and 2 runs so far. And Iglesias will try and get the final out in the 8th. We're back in a moment. By purchasing the Star Wars theme ticket package presented by PNC Bank, we have the Chewbacca bobblehead. And it'll be the Reds and the Marlins at night. This limited edition bobblehead is only available through this offer. Visit reds.com/themes. Theme of this one is to get the final out in the 8th inning. Reds had a 7-2 lead, but the Braves have scored a couple of times, and now the main weapon out of that Reds bullpen and frequently used right-hander is Raisel Iglesias. And 1 pitch, and he will get the final out of the inning. That's the way you do it. Raisel. Yes, sir. Live, presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing. And tomorrow, 6 o'clock, Reds Live gets underway. Our game coverage at 6:30. Brandon McCarthy off to a big start. He's bounced around a lot in his major league career, but when healthy, he's pretty good and off to a great start this year. Tyler Mahle, the young right-hander, will start it for the Reds. Miguel Sokolovic will take over on the mound for the Atlanta Braves. 5th pitcher they've used in the game here tonight. Well, it is hard to believe when you look back on this game. At the end of 4 innings, the Atlanta starter, Volkanevich, had allowed 1 hit and no runs, but he issued a 1-out walk in the 4th inning, which was his 4th walk of the game. He struck out 7 but could not get through 5 innings. He gave up a 2-run home run to tie the game, and then after a 2-out single to Votto, they took him out. And the Reds got to work on Freeman, Moylan, and Biddle, striking for 5 runs in the 6th inning. Atlanta got 2 of those back in the 8th.
Yeah, you made the comment earlier that the Braves bullpen has not given up a whole lot of hits and a whole lot of home runs. Well, that's partially because they're not throwing the ball over the plate.
2-2 on Billy Hamilton, who is 0 for 2, has walked and scored a run. Out on a play. Sokolovich just brought up 2 days ago. Second time this year he's been up, been down, been up, now again. Pitching down for their AAA team in Gwinnett, Georgia, not far from Atlanta. And Hamilton loops one into center field, a base hit for Billy. So second time he's been on base tonight. Our Miller time hold true moment. We were hoping it would be something from the Redlegs, and that it is. Down 2-0 in the fifth. Schebler gets a high fastball and tomahawks that thing to the green grass in center. Tie the game at 2. First home run by a Red since the last time they were here. They scored 10 runs in that first game in Milwaukee, but did not hit a home run in that game, and then would not hit one when their offense was pretty quiet over the next 5 days. And here's Schebler. They pitch out, Billy running. And they did not get it. He still beat it on a pitch out. That's a good throw.
Pitch out right at the chest. Hamilton got a heck of a jump.
Fifth stolen base of the year by Billy Hamilton.
You know, if Swanson keeps that tag on the body of Hamilton, his hand actually pops up off the bag. And Billy had to reach back, but he took the glove off of him. That used to be the way that you taught tags. Quick down, quick up, get the umpire's view. Now you put the tag on the guy and you don't take it off of him until he stops moving. And for some infielders, that means you have to stick your nose in there a little bit. You got to get down there.
One and one on Schebler off the end of the bat. Schebler in the leadoff spot for the first time this year. Of course, he spent the overwhelming majority of this season on the disabled list. Only 19 at bats coming into the game tonight. And he clubbed a game-tying 2-run home run in the fifth. Hamilton at second base, and a bouncing ball left side will get into left field. They're going to wave around Billy. Why wouldn't you? Fastest man in the game will easily score. And the Reds have tacked on an 8-4 lead, a 3 RBI night tonight for Schebler.
Great piece of hitting by Scott Schebler. Hit the previous pitch off the end of the bat. Says, all right, I'll just go that way. They're going to play me up the middle. He takes the changeup and hits it right through the shortstop position. Of course, Dansby Swanson was playing up the middle.
Play by Peraza. He's had a nice game tonight. Couple of hits in 4 at bats, has scored a run and had a huge hit in that 6th inning. That's when the Reds had taken a 3-2 lead. If you're just joining us, they had the bases loaded with nobody out. But Braves pitchers got back-to-back outs without a run scoring. And then Peraza stepped up there, knocked in a run. Votto drew a bases loaded walk to bring in a run. Jeanette had a 2-out, 2-run single. So 4 of the 5 in that inning coming with 2 outs, and Peraza getting it all started. And this one jerked down the left field line towards a corner and hooking foul. He had enough to get it out of here. That would have been his first of the year. Another foul ball out of play.
Yeah, you talked about those 10 runs that the Reds scored in Milwaukee the first game of their last road trip, and then things didn't go real well after that. And you'd like to believe that the Reds could take a night like tonight, very similar to that 10-run outing against the Brewers, and carry it over into the following game and then even further. We've seen some awfully good at-bats here tonight. Of course, you got a great pitching performance tonight from Sal Romano.
Sure did.
Kept the Reds right there in the ball game, and that will be the task put forward for Tyler Mahle tomorrow night. Because McCarthy's throwing the ball awfully well.
Hey, the Reds got good enough pitching on that last road trip where they could have been a 500 team on that trip at the minimum.
I would agree.
In the last 2 games, they get shut out 2-0 in Milwaukee. And Homer Bailey pitched another excellent game the other night, although he didn't think it was anywhere close to his best, but the numbers don't lie. They were good.
Well, I think in defense of Homer, he's trying everything he can do to push for excellence from these young guys. The moment that he says, well, 5 innings of 1-run baseball was good enough, then everybody's going to think the same thing. I think Homer is trying to not only push himself, but push the other guys as well.
Votto's been on base 3 times tonight. You want to hear an unbelievable stat? Listen to this. If you go back over the last, well, since the start of the 2016 season, they only played 2 series against one another, but Votto has come to the plate 67 times against the Braves. He has reached base 40 times. Of those 67 plate appearances, that is an on-base percentage of .597. Almost 60% of the time he is getting on base, and that is the highest by any player against any one team over the last 2+ years in Major League Baseball. Unbelievable. One ball and 2 strikes here. Still nobody out here in the Reds' 8th inning. They get a single to started by Hamilton. He steals a base, scores on a single by Schebler, and then a walk to Peraza. So Sokolovic has come on, faced 3 batters and not retired one of them. You see the numbers for Votto against this Atlanta right-hander. Got him there, fooled him. Reds' 8th inning. And now Scooter Gennett. Scooter 1 of 3 in the game. He's been on base twice. He had the 2-run single with 2 outs in the 5-run 6th. Ball 1. Fooled him there with a changeup. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Not too many breaking balls from Sokolovic. More fastballs that he moves around the strike zone, and then that changeup seems to be his out pitch. It is again.
Reds with 8 runs on 9 hits. They've taken advantage of 7 and now 8 walks, including the walk of Peraza in this inning by Atlanta pitching. Atlanta 4 runs, 7 hits. Reds pitching has walked just 1 batter all night. So, you tend to look back and say, okay, how many of the walks, actually scored? Well, 3 scored. Then you throw in a bases loaded walk, so you get an RBI out of that. But there's no way to put a measure on the 4 walks earlier by the Atlanta starter and how much longer he would have been in this game, Fultonevich, had those pitches not piled up from all the walks and the strikeouts.
Well, I think with any pitcher that's on the mound, you heighten the pitch count. It lessens their ability to pitch deep in the ball game. It's just the way it is. This day and age, there aren't going to be too many guys that go out and throw more than 110 pitches. That's just the way it is.
Fastball down low and another full count. Play made out there by Tucker, and that will be the 2nd out of the inning after the first 3 had reached in the inning. So here comes Adam Duvall. If you're looking ahead to the Atlanta 9th, it'll still be Iglesias, because he can get a save in this game. He came into the game with the tying run in the on deck circle, and it was a 3-run game anyway, so Iglesias trying to pick up what would be his 3rd save of this season and gives Sal Romano a win. And of course, for the interim manager Jim Riggleman, it would be his first win since taking over for Brian Price officially last Thursday during the off day. But the first game he managed with the Reds was Friday night in St. Louis. Two and 0 on Adam Duvall. And there's a strike. For Riggleman, he talked about getting this opportunity and didn't know if it would ever happen again. He's not managed in the major leagues since 2011. Hooked into left field and a base hit. This will bring in one. This will bring in a pair of runs. And a 2-run double by Adam Duvall has made it a 10-4 Reds lead. Same number they had last Monday night in Milwaukee.
No breaking ball to go away from Duvall, so he stays on it, thinking hit the fastball to right center, get the changeup, I hook it in the left field corner, and that's exactly what he does.
To the pitching mound made by the pitching coach Chuck Hernandez, and Sokolovich has given up 3 runs so far here in the Cincinnati 8th inning. Adam Duvall, RBIs 10 and 11.
You know, it used to be when you were pitching in an inning like this, pretty much just tell you when they came out there, look, you're out here, big boy. You better get somebody out because we're not getting anybody out.
It's into foul ground. That'll get in amongst the fans out of play. Well, that's the case here because there's nobody getting loose in that bullpen. So Sokolovich, you have to figure out a way to get the final out before he gives up any more runs.
But I mean, the pitching coach would actually come out and tell you that is what I was saying.
I got you. I
don't know that they do that anymore. You know, we're
I think they might.
Kind of in a touchy-feely environment, more so than.
Well, that's for sure. Ground ball to short. Swanson throws, and that'll end the inning. But the Reds get 3 more. The Braves will bat in the 9th. The Reds lead 10-4.
Live, the post-game edition presented by Performance Kings Honda. We'll go inside the clubhouse. We'll have interviews, highlights, and so much more immediately following each and every Reds game right here on Fox Sports Ohio. All right, guys, we got a showstopper for you. The Indians are at it again, and this time it's Yonder Alonso with a guy on. No score. Top of the second, Alonso goes deep for the home run. The Indians hold on to win. They've now won 9 of 12 and lead the American League Central now by a game and a half. Yonder Alonso, former Red, the hero for the Tribe. Gentlemen.
Well, I tell you what, Yonder Alonso might be the hero for the Tribe tonight, but I'm not sure any ex-Red is hotter than Yasmani Grandal right now. I saw some of the numbers he's putting up here recently for the Dodgers. Oh, my goodness. Of course, both former #1 picks by the Reds, both out of the University of Miami in Florida. All right, so Iglesias trying to get his 3rd save of the year. And he'll be facing Preston Tucker here in the Atlanta 9th inning. 10 runs, 10 hits for the Reds, 4 runs, 7 hits for Atlanta. Sal Romano, the front 6, allows 4 hits, 2 runs, 1 earned. And this would be the first win of the season for Sal Romano, and this is his 5th start. And that's all for Tucker to begin the inning.
When you have not faced Raisel Iglesias, you don't realize he can shift from 2nd to 5th in one smooth motion. He goes change up and then that thing. See you later.
Dansby Swanson 0 for 2, has drawn a walk, scored a run. Well, you know, that's the one thing when you have such a special pitcher like Iglesias, and you know, it was only 3 years ago he was a Reds opening day starter, and that's exactly what they had planned for Iglesias. And I mean, the stuff he features, if there's ever a guy that was ever cut out to be a starting pitcher, it is Raisel Iglesias, blessed with just an extraordinary arsenal of pitches. Unbelievably talented young pitcher. But the Reds made the decision they would put him in the bullpen. They weren't sure if the arm would hold up as a starter. We'll never know. But you know, when you pitch for a team that is not winning a lot of games, it's too bad you don't get to see this guy more often.
Yeah, I think the health of the shoulder for Raisel Iglesias, just given the fact that the Reds had such an investment in him early, and he could pitch the month of April, you get into May, continuing cycles of DL with that shoulder. Finally, you just have to make the move to the bullpen. I mean, if you can't pitch more than a month and a half, then you're in the bullpen.
Bouncing ball to Peraza, takes a nice high hop. Meanwhile, you think about the man in the Reds dugout, Jim Riggleman. He's 65 years old. There was a time he was the hot shot managerial prospect in all of Major League Baseball. He was in the Cardinals organization as a coach, as a manager. And then all of a sudden the San Diego Padres hired him, and they said, this is the guy. We're going to build it around. But they weren't spending any money. They traded away all their great players. He was there for 3 years. Immediately the next season, hired by the Chicago Cubs for the next 5 years, where he had a second-place finish, took a team to the playoffs. He waited 10 years to get another managerial job in Seattle. The very next year, he moved on to Washington. And during that 2011 season, the Washington Nationals were playing good baseball. They were a game under 500. They had had back-to-back brutal years since he had taken over. And on the 23rd of June 2011, after a win, he walked away from a Nationals job. And here on April the 23rd, Jim Riggleman, for the first time since 2011, can celebrate a win as a manager. He wondered if he would ever get that chance again. Not in a perfect world, to quote him, the way his friend Brian Price was let go. But congratulations to Jim Riggleman. His first win in nearly 7 full baseball seasons.
Well, you get back home, you get off that rough road trip, you win right away. Come tomorrow night, it's time to make it 2 in a row.
Yes, it is. So the Reds win it. Final count of 10-4. We're back with more from the ballpark in a moment.